Today, we're going to talk about the liver, specifically the journey from a fatty liver to a more serious condition called cirrhosis. There's a lot of information online about so-called silent signs of liver damage, and frankly, much of it is designed to cause alarm rather than to genuinely inform. My goal here is different. We are going to cut through that noise together. In this video, I will walk you through the 5 most reliable early indicators that your liver might be under stress. We'll skip the vague, unhelpful symptoms and focus on the ones that medical science actually points to. For each one, I'll explain, in simple terms, exactly what is happening inside your body. Most importantly, we're not just going to talk about problems, we're going to talk about solutions. I'll give you a clear, practical starting plan to help you reduce your risk and even begin to reverse early-stage fatty liver disease. The number one sign we'll cover is the one most people, and even some doctors, miss until things are much more serious. So please, stay with me to the end, where I'll also share a simple at-home check and a 3-step action plan you can begin this very afternoon. This is not about fear. This is about giving you the knowledge to take back control of your health. It can be overwhelming to sort through health advice online. If you find this kind of clear, calm guidance helpful, please take a moment to subscribe and join our community. In the comments below, I'd love to know one health topic you found confusing. Your feedback helps me know what to cover next. Let's begin our countdown with number 5. Number 5. Persistent, unexplained fatigue and body aches. We all get tired. A poor night's sleep, a busy day with the grandkids, or a bit of extra work in the garden can certainly leave you feeling drained. But the fatigue associated with a stressed liver is different. It's a deep, persistent exhaustion that doesn't seem to improve much even after a full night's rest. You might wake up feeling like you haven't slept at all. This can be accompanied by a generalized, low-grade itchiness in your muscles and joints that isn't from arthritis or any specific injury. So what's happening here? Your liver is one of the most important metabolic organs in your body. Think of it as a sophisticated power plant and filtration system. One of its key jobs is to take the food you eat, particularly carbohydrates, and convert it into a stored form of energy called glycogen. It then releases this energy as needed to fuel your muscles and brain. When your liver has an excess accumulation of fat, a condition known as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, or NAFLD, it becomes inflamed and sluggish. This process is like trying to run a power plant with clogged machinery. The liver's ability to efficiently store and release energy is impaired. The result is that your body's fuel supply becomes unreliable, leading to that profound sense of fatigue. Simultaneously, a struggling liver has a harder time clearing out inflammatory molecules and metabolic waste products from your blood. When these substances linger, they can contribute to that feeling of systemic itchiness, making you feel unwell for no obvious reason. If this sounds familiar, here are 2 simple, practical steps you can take. First, try incorporating a gentle 10-minute walk after your meals, especially your largest meal of the day. This simple act of movement encourages your muscles to directly absorb sugar from your bloodstream for energy, which gives your hardworking liver a much-needed break. Second, when you have carbohydrates, try to pair them with a source of protein or healthy fat. For example, if you enjoy toast in the morning, add a scrambled egg or a smear of almond butter. This helps slow down the absorption of sugar, preventing a sudden spike that the liver has to manage. Now, a red flag. If your fatigue is so severe that it interferes with your daily activities, or if it's accompanied by significant brain fog or a low mood, it's essential to discuss this with your healthcare provider and ask about a simple liver function blood test. From the way we feel, let's move on to what we can see. This brings us to number 4. Number 4. Specific skin changes you might otherwise ignore. Our skin can often provide clues about our internal health, but we need to know what to look for. When it comes to the liver, there are two specific visual signs to be aware of: small spider angiomas and persistent, unexplained itching. First, let's talk about spider angiomas. These are not the common brown age spots or liver spots, which are usually just a result of sun exposure over the years. A spider angioma looks different. It's a tiny, central red spot with small reddish blood vessels radiating outwards, like the legs of a spider. They most commonly appear on the face, neck, chest, and arms. If you press on the center, the redness will temporarily disappear, then return when you release the pressure. The mechanism behind this is hormonal. Your liver is responsible for processing hormones, including estrogen. When the liver is damaged or struggling, it can't break down estrogen as effectively. This leads to higher levels of estrogen circulating in the blood, which can cause small arteries near the surface of the skin to dilate and become more visible. While having one or two can be perfectly normal, the appearance of several new ones in a relatively short period is worth noting. The second skin sign is persistent itching, known medically as pruritus. This isn't the kind of itch you get from dry skin in the winter. This is often more intense and can be particularly bothersome on the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. It occurs because one of the liver's critical functions is to produce bile, which helps digest fats. Bile contains substances called bile salts. When the liver is damaged, the tiny ducts that transport bile can become blocked. Think of it like a plumbing backup in your house. The bile salts can't flow out properly, so they back up into the bloodstream and get deposited in the skin, causing intense irritation and itching. Now, here is a common myth I want to clear up. Many people believe that any spot on their skin as they get older is a liver spot and a sign of disease. This is incorrect. The vast majority of what we call age spots, or solar lentigines, are simply pigment changes from a lifetime of sun exposure and have nothing to do with the health of your liver. The spider angiomas we're discussing are vascular. They are made of tiny blood vessels, not pigment. If you're noticing these signs, a practical step is to be gentle with your skin. Use lukewarm water and mild, fragrance-free soaps to avoid further irritation. For your overall health, ensuring you get enough vitamin E, found in foods like sunflower seeds and almonds, can support skin health. The red flag here is this: if you notice a crop of new spider angiomas appearing, or if you are experiencing severe itching that disrupts your sleep and doesn't respond to moisturizers, it is absolutely a reason to schedule an appointment with your doctor. Next, let's move from the skin to our digestive system with sign number 3. Number 3, digestive distress that goes beyond simple indigestion. Many of us experience occasional bloating or an upset stomach, perhaps after a particularly rich meal. But the digestive signs related to a struggling liver are more specific and persistent. They include a feeling of fullness or bloating in the upper abdomen, a dull ache under your right rib cage, and changes in the appearance of your bowel movements. Let's explore the why behind this. A healthy liver is neatly tucked away under your right rib cage. In fatty liver disease, the organ can become enlarged and swollen with fat and inflammation. This physical enlargement can cause it to press on the stomach and other adjacent organs. This pressure can create a sensation of being full after eating only a small amount of food, or a persistent, nagging, dull ache in that upper right area of your abdomen. You might mistake it for a pulled muscle or simple indigestion. The second part of this involves bile production. As we discussed, the liver produces bile, which acts like dish soap in your digestive system, breaking down fats so your body can absorb them. A fatty, inflamed liver is less efficient at producing and releasing this bile. The bile it does produce may be thicker or sluggish. This has two noticeable consequences. First, without enough effective bile, your body struggles to digest fatty foods. You might find that meals that never used to bother you, like a creamy pasta sauce or a piece of fried chicken, now leave you feeling nauseous or uncomfortably full. Second, bile is what gives your stool its characteristic brown color. When bile flow is obstructed, less of it reaches the intestines. This can cause your stools to become pale, gray, or clay-colored. If this sounds familiar, try this simple experiment. For 1 week, consciously reduce your intake of heavy, fried, and very fatty foods. Opt for baked fish instead of fried. Use olive oil instead of butter, and choose lighter sauces. See if that upper abdominal fullness and discomfort ease up. Another gentle step is to incorporate more bitter greens into your diet, like arugula, radicchio, or dandelion greens. The bitter compounds in these plants have been traditionally used to help gently stimulate healthy bile flow. If you're finding this breakdown useful, a quick tap on the subscribe button helps others find this calm health advice too. Here is the red flag for this sign: persistent pain in your upper right abdomen, especially if it's accompanied by nausea, loss of appetite, or consistent pale-colored stools, should not be ignored. It warrants a prompt evaluation by your doctor. Now, we arrive at two of the most important and interconnected signs, starting with number 2. Number 2, the blood sugar and cholesterol connection. This is one of the most crucial and often overlooked areas linking lifestyle to liver health. If your doctor has recently told you that your blood sugar is creeping up into the pre-diabetic range, or that your triglyceride levels are high for the first time, your liver might be sending a very important signal. Here's the simple mechanism. Your liver and your pancreas work together as a team to manage blood sugar. When you eat carbohydrates, your pancreas releases insulin, a hormone that acts like a key, unlocking your body's cells to let sugar in for energy. A healthy liver is very sensitive to this insulin signal. However, when the liver becomes filled with fat, it develops a condition called insulin resistance. It's as if the locks on the liver cells get rusty. The insulin key doesn't work as well. In response, your pancreas panics and pumps out even more insulin to try to get the job done. These high, circulating levels of insulin send a powerful message to your now resistant liver: store fat. The liver then goes into overdrive, converting any excess sugar into a type of fat called triglycerides. These triglycerides can be stored in the liver itself, making the fatty liver worse, or they can be exported into the bloodstream, which is why your triglyceride number on a blood test will go up. High insulin also signals the liver to produce more of the small, dense, bad LDL cholesterol. It's a vicious cycle that contributes not only to liver damage, but also to heart disease risk. Many people are surprised when their A1C, a measure of average blood sugar, creeps up from a healthy 5.5 to 5.9 or 6.0, even if they don't feel they've dramatically changed their diet. This is often one of the earliest metabolic signs that the liver is struggling with insulin resistance. This is where we can be incredibly proactive. Here is a simple 3-step action plan you can discuss with your doctor. First, know your numbers. At your next annual physical, make sure you are getting these 3 tests. A hemoglobin A1C. The goal for prevention is to stay below 5.7%. A fasting lipid panel. The key number here is triglycerides. An ideal level is below 150 milligrams per deciliter, and a liver enzyme test for AST and ALT. These numbers give you a clear picture of your metabolic and liver health. Second, time your eating. This isn't about a restrictive diet, it's about timing. Try to create a 12-hour fasting window overnight. If you finish your dinner at 7 p.m., aim to have your first bite of breakfast no earlier than 7 a.m. This 12-hour break gives your liver a chance to stop storing and start its repair and housekeeping processes, which can dramatically improve insulin sensitivity over time. Third, the 10-minute walk rule. As we mentioned earlier, a short, gentle walk after your largest meal is one of the most powerful things you can do. It doesn't need to be fast or long. Just 10 minutes of slow walking helps your muscles sop up the sugar from your meal, placing less of a metabolic burden on your liver and pancreas. These 3 steps are foundational for reversing fatty liver and regaining metabolic health. And now, we come to the number one sign, the one that is most often overlooked or attributed to other things until liver damage is more advanced. Number 1. New or worsening swelling in your legs and ankles. This sign, known as edema, is critically important because it often indicates that liver function, not just liver structure, is starting to become significantly impaired. It's a signal that the problem may be progressing from simple fatty liver towards more serious scarring or cirrhosis. Here is the mechanism, and it's quite straightforward. One of the liver's thousands of jobs is to manufacture proteins. The most abundant protein it makes is called albumin. I want you to think of albumin as a kind of fluid sponge that circulates in your bloodstream. Its job is to hold water inside your blood vessels through osmotic pressure, preventing it from leaking out into the surrounding tissues. When the liver becomes severely damaged and scarred, its protein-making factory slows down. It can no longer produce enough albumin. With lower levels of this sponge protein in the blood, the pressure balance changes. Fluid begins to seep out of the tiny capillaries and, due to gravity, pools in the lowest parts of your body, your feet, ankles, and lower legs. The scenario is classic. You might notice that your socks leave deep indentations on your ankles at the end of the day that weren't there 6 months ago. Your shoes might feel snug in the morning, but uncomfortably tight by the evening. A key indicator is pitting edema. If you press your thumb firmly into your shin for a few seconds, and it leaves a visible pit or indentation that slowly fills back in, that's a sign of excess fluid in the tissue. Now, it is very important not to panic. A little bit of ankle swelling can be caused by many things, including sitting or standing for a long time, eating a very salty meal, hot weather, or venous insufficiency from varicose veins. Those are all common. What we are talking about here is swelling that is new for you, is present in both legs, is consistent day after day, and typically gets worse as the day progresses. The practical steps here are focused on managing fluid. First, elevate your legs whenever you can. Lying down with your feet propped up on a few pillows, so they are higher than the level of your heart, for 20 minutes a couple of times a day can help the fluid return to circulation. Second, be very mindful of your sodium intake. Excess salt makes your body hold on to water, worsening the swelling. The biggest sources of sodium are often not the salt shaker, but processed and packaged foods, canned soups, frozen dinners, deli meats, and restaurant meals. Start reading labels and aim for lower sodium options. The red flag for edema is non-negotiable. If you develop new, persistent swelling in both legs, especially if it is accompanied by shortness of breath or a swollen, bloated abdomen, you must see your doctor right away. This is a sign that the liver, or potentially the heart or kidneys, is under significant strain and requires immediate medical attention. So where does this leave us? It might feel like a lot of information, but the central message is one of hope and empowerment. Your liver has a remarkable ability to regenerate and heal, especially in the earlier stages of fatty liver disease. These signs are not a final verdict. They are your body's early warning system, inviting you to take action. So, what can you do starting this week? Let's summarize that simple action plan. First, talk to your doctor about getting those key numbers: your A1C, your triglycerides, and your liver enzymes ALT and AST. Second, try creating that 12-hour overnight digestive rest for your liver from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., for example. And third, commit to that gentle 10-minute walk after your main meal each day. And as promised, here is that simple at-home check you can do tonight. Before you go to bed, take off your socks and look closely at your ankles and shins. Are there deep, lingering marks from the elastic? Now, press your thumb firmly against your shin bone for 5 seconds. When you lift it, is there a noticeable pit? This simple observation, especially when considered alongside the other signs we've discussed, is powerful information you can bring to your next doctor's visit. These small, consistent steps are what build a foundation for more energy, better metabolic health, and the long-term independence we all value. I will link to some plain language resources from trusted medical sources in the description below. In the comments, I would love for you to share one small change you might try this week. Is it the 10-minute walk? Or maybe swapping a sugary drink for water? Sharing your first step can be a wonderful source of inspiration for others in this community. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with a friend or family member who might benefit. Your support helps us reach more people over 60 with clear, reliable health information. Be well, stay informed, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.